date again. Ever. Kate and Eve, the traitors, and their respective dates had conveniently lost Olivia in the fairgrounds after Peter Moreno, the former high school classmate they'd set her up with, lost track of his shut the hell up button. He'd been talking non-stop about himself and his booming law practice for the last 2 hours. He'd even brought along the photograph taken of him outside the Marietta courthouse that had appeared in the latest edition of the Copper Mountain Courier, which, he'd pointed out, was taken from his more photogenic left side. He had generously reenacted the pose for her with a cheesy wink. She shuddered, remembering it. Outside the restroom door, the sounds of the midway, couples laughing, and genuine happiness rushed on by her like a river. The scent of corn dogs, barbecue, and cotton candy reminded her of all the other long-ago nights she'd spent at this fair, being part of something. Tonight, she'd caught glimpses of friends she hadn't seen since high school, now married up, with children, and moving on with their lives, while hers seemed stuck on hold. She rubbed her temples, trying to remember some Confucius wisdom she'd heard about moving forward, but it eluded her. Something about studying the past to define the future, but at the moment, her possibilities felt as small and confined as the mistakes she'd left behind. But whose fault was that? Yours, a small voice retorted. If left to her own devices tonight, she'd be tucked into her favorite reading chair in her childhood bedroom with a tub of Chunky Monkey and a good romance novel. All to take her mind off the fact she was 30, divorced, and, yes, living in her childhood bedroom. But her sisters hadn't allowed it. They'd dragged her to the fair for a date so she wouldn't spend her birthday alone. But, hands down, she would take alone over the rejoining party of one who'd never even asked her if she wanted a churro. She scooped her hair away from her face, then leaned closer to inspect a new crinkle near her eye. Under the flickering fluorescent lights, she looked older and a little tipsy, which made sense since she had just exceeded her 2-beer limit with a third one. She brushed a finger across her unglossed lips and blinked at her reflection. For the life of her, she couldn't remember the last time she'd been seriously kissed by someone she really wanted to kiss her. Even though she'd sworn off men and marriage and anything to do with relationships, a fluttering curl of want settled down low in her belly at the thought of such intimacy, reminding her some little part of the person she used to be still had a pulse. Sadly, only one memorable toe-curling smooch came to mind when she allowed herself to think of such things, and her ex-husband of 5 years had nothing to do with it. No. The one she had in mind was the kiss that always came to her in the middle of a sleepless night, or as she watched the dark water of a river slide across a deep, trout-filled pool, or, honestly, whenever she thought of kissing at all. She had no trouble admitting Jake Lassen was the one that got away. But in truth, she'd intentionally let him off the line and released him. He'd been her best friend in high school, but even that was understating the teenage angst of their relationship, a strange mix of confidences, friendship, and unrequited longing. Timing had always been their issue. Either she'd secretly wanted him when he was dating someone else, or it had been the other way around. But through it all, they'd been friends. Friends, like no other friend she'd ever had. The kiss had only happened once, the night of their graduation after-party, in the wee hours of the morning down by the river. She and Jake had walked downstream, where he wanted to show her a secret fishing spot, and it had happened. A mutual collision of hunger, so unexpected and thorough.